Today I'll be giving you my first impressions review of this, the Adidas Adizero Adios 6, which I think might be the best all-round running shoe in years. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, a medical student and GB age group triathlete, and on this channel we talk all things triathlon, training and racing, and that also covers things like shoe reviews and other running, cycling and swimming kind of videos. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. So yes, today we are talking about this shoe here, the Adidas Adizero Adios 6, and that is definitely a mouthful, so I'm probably just going to call it the Adios 6 from now on, because if we call it an Adizero, then you get confused with a Pro, and look, Adidas, whatever you're doing with your names, I think they're really cool, but they're a mouthful to say, so this, from now on in this video, it's going to be called the Adios 6. Makes it nice and simple. We'll give you some general kind of overview of the shoe to start with, then we'll tackle the upper, the midsole and the outsole before we talk about the value proposition of this shoe. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek. This is one of the best shoes I've run in, so you definitely want to stay all the way until the end to hear my final thoughts. So as always with my running shoes, I purchased this one with my own money. I got it from the adidas.com with a 35% student discount, so that is class. 30 or 35%. So I paid £71, or however it normally retails for £110. However, it seems to always be on sale, whether that be from Adidas themselves, sports shoes, all of the kind of general running outlet shops tend to have this one on sale. So definitely look for a bargain on these shoes because they're going to be worth it. I can guarantee you that. And if you can get this shoe on discount, it's a great price for a running shoe. Anything £80 or under is pretty much a bargain regardless of the running shoe you're going to get, as long as it's serviceable. With some running shoes being closer to £200 or even £250, paying £80 or less for a running shoe is a great start, and that kind of puts it at half the price of the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 2, which I've also done my first impressions on this channel, and kind of in the same ballpark as the Adidas SL20, which is a massive fan favourite. And so far I've actually done 3 runs in this shoe. My first one was a long run of around 17 kilometers, averaging 4 minutes and 30 per pace. My second was an 11k tempo run, which averaged around 4 minutes per kilometer. And then the run that I took it out for this morning before doing this review was a 21.1, so pretty much bang on a half marathon, because I did a couple of extra laps round the block to get it up to a half marathon, and that was at 4 minutes 50 per k. So I think I've given this shoe more thought than I would for a first impressions, and as we get into the review you'll understand why. Some quick general stats about this shoe before we talk about the full in detailed review. This is designed as kind of a lightweight racing and training shoe from Adidas, and I think they've nailed that. It comes in at 231 grams. In the heel, we've got 27 millimeters of foam. In the forefoot, we've got 19 millimeters, giving us a pretty significant 8 millimeter drop, making this definitely something you want to use for those fast-paced sessions with a slightly more aggressive drop. And in this shoe I went for my size 9, and it fits true to size. This is the one that I go with Adidas always. I didn't notice this being too narrow or too short, which is sometimes what people complain with in Adidas shoes. However, if that is something you've experienced in the past, I would definitely consider getting a size up. However, I've never had a problem. Maybe I'm just quite a small size 9. Who knows, but I thought this shoe fit incredibly well. Talking about fit, let's talk about the upper of this shoe. And we've got a single layer engineered mesh on this, quite similar to the Adios Pro 2. This is so thin, it's definitely translucent or transparent in some parts. However, there's definitely a little bit more cushioning than the Pro, which I think is why it's got a slightly heavier weight when compared to some of the other shoes you might consider for racing. This thinness definitely gives it a nice amount of breathability, and also means that it hasn't held on to a lot of water when I've been running through puddles or running in the rain on one of my runs. I think the lockdown in this shoe is exceptionally good. There's tons of extra eyelets on the side and at the top if you want to do a runner's knot. However, I haven't really needed to use any of those at all. It's been so comfortable. It really has just kind of cinched right onto my foot, and I haven't had any wiggle at all. And I think the tongue design that they've used in this shoe, it really is almost identical to the Pro 2s. We've got a really thin tongue with just a little bit of padding on either side, which really means that you can pull those laces tight without putting too much pressure on the top of the foot, so it makes it incredibly comfortable to get a tight, secure lockdown, which I think is perfect for those faster paced miles that you're probably going to want to use this shoe for. However, they haven't totally stripped out the upper of this shoe, which they have done on something like the Pro 2. We've still got a fair amount of padding around the heel and around the ankle collar, which really makes it very comfortable for those long runs that I've taken it on so far. There's no slippage around here. Your foot is really nice and secure in the little divot of the heel and either side of the ankle, which means that when you're cinching this nice and tight, you're not putting too much pressure on the ankle when it's in there, but you do feel like you're going to stay in there for forever, really. And I really love the detailing of this shoe. Now, obviously, I've got this in the super cool, the white. I think this is the Tokyo version, but I think all the colours are epic. They do it in that same blue that I've got the Pro 2s in. But this is really like more of a traditional looking running shoe. We've even got some suede detailing around here and around some of the eyelets and on the bottom here. It's super cool. It's like a retro kind of look and feel from a modern racing and training, almost flat in my opinion. I've got no gripes at all with the upper of the Adios 6. I think it really is one of, if not the best uppers I've ever run in. It really does remind me of the Pro 2, taking everything good about that shoe while adding a little bit more plushness for daily use. I really cannot complain about this one at all. I'd be really interested if anyone has a problem with this, and I think that may just come down to the sizing because, like I mentioned earlier, Adidas are known for having a little bit narrow shoes in the arch of the foot, so definitely check on that. But if you get the right size, I think you're going to fall in love with the upper of this shoe. Now let's talk about that midsole, and there really is a lot going on here. Let's start at the forefoot, and in the forefoot we've got two types of foam, but let's talk about the foam that's only in the forefoot, and that is this Light Strike Pro, the same one that is in the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 1 and 2. This is their super foam. They're amazing, you know, like this is their top of the line foam for their racing shoes, and there's a considerable amount of it here. It kind of comes back all the way to the back part just before where your rear foot is and all the way through the forefoot. However, it's not just this little strip here. It definitely comes down into the sole of the foot because it has a very different feel to normal Light Strike, and when you press on this you can tell, yeah, it doesn't feel the same as this one. So it seems like it goes all the way through to the sole of the foot and doesn't just stay up in this little layer, which gives it a really nice feel when you're landing on your forefoot and your midfoot. The other foam in this shoe, the slightly whiter one compared to the cream of the Light Strike Pro, is the Light Strike, the same one we've got in the SL20. This is almost the greatest hits of Adidas running shoe technology in that. Light Strike normal foam is definitely a little bit more firm, probably more resilient in case you are heel striking too much, and I think it just helps to encompass the Light Strike Pro in the forefoot. And then we've got one of Adidas's favourite things that I haven't seen in, I can't remember the last time I've seen this in one of the top of the line Adidas shoes. That is this little kind of Y-shaped bit of plastic here, and this is that torsion plate that Adidas used to put in almost all of their shoes, and this gives a really nice kind of rigid kind of snap to the shoe and really encourages you to be landing on the forefoot and then bouncing right through every time. Overall, I love the midsole of this shoe, but I definitely think it takes some getting used to, and that's why I actually took it out for more runs than just the first one that I would normally do for a first impressions review. It definitely reminds me more of the SL20 than it does the Pro 2. It's firmer, it's not that super soft from the Light Strike Pro. Because it's more Light Strike, it's definitely quite foam, and I wonder if this Light Strike Pro maybe is a little bit firmer than what's in the Pro 2s. However, as I found with the SL20s, once you start running and get that first kind of run out of the way, and especially if you're picking up the pace, that firmness tends to melt away and you're not even thinking about the shoe anymore, because it really does help you roll through, especially like I said earlier, if you can hit on this big bit of Light Strike Pro here, you don't even really feel a lot of that firmness, and the firmness tends to help with, I think, the stability that maybe some people have a problem with a shoe full of Light Strike Pro. I think Adidas have done an amazing job with this shoe, really picking and choosing some of the best bits from modern Adidas running technology and combining them into what is an amazing long run and tempo or racing kind of flat, I would highly recommend this based on the midsole alone. I really do think the midsole is what's going to keep this in my running shoe rotation as both a tempo or threshold and a long run shoe, simply because it's so versatile. It feels good at those 10k or 5k paces, but it also feels great for energy return and comfort at those half marathon kind of long run paces. I really can't complain with this shoe. I think the midsole, good job, Adidas. I wasn't 100% sold on the amalgamation of technologies because I had previously tried the Nike Tempo Next Percent, and I really didn't get on with that at all. And that was a similar kind of idea, picking and choosing some of Nike's existing technologies and kind of shoving them all in one shoe. Didn't get on with that. I was a little bit apprehensive about this one, but it seems that Adidas have done what Nike couldn't do when it came to the midsole of this shoe. And so finally, let's talk about the outsole of this shoe. And this is going to be pretty straightforward because I love Adidas's outsoles on their shoe. I don't think I've ever had a bad word to say about them, and this one is no exception. We've got my favorite outsole material. We've got that Continental rubber. I run it on my running shoes and I have it on my bikes. Continental make the best rubber for both cycling tyres and for running shoe soles. I think Adidas, keep this partnership going for as long as you can, please, because I don't know what I'm going to do when I can't get Continental rubber on the bottom of the shoes. The pattern is really nice here. As you can see, we've got these fins in the forefoot and these fins in the rear foot, just to create a really nice, really grippy kind of outsole. I used this in where there was standing water. I used it in the rain. I've used it on some wet, muddy gravel paths where there's been lots of sludge from leaves that have started to fall off the trees. All that kind of stuff, this thing absolutely chews through. I've never felt unstable. And because we've got not just Light Strike Pro, but we've got the normal Light Strike to surround it, you're not feeling like you're as squishy underfoot. You're quite firm underfoot, so it's really responsive. And with a slightly lower stack height when compared to a lot of other more maximal kind of running shoes, I've had no problems with the stability, no problems with the grip. I've been weaving in and out of pedestrians and cyclists on some of the canal paths, the gravel paths. Honestly, I think this can pretty much face whatever you throw at it when it comes to the outsole. So again, I know that's a really quick kind of summary, but Adidas keep nailing it when it comes to their outsoles on their running shoes. So finally, let's talk about the value of this shoe. And I think it's an incredible proposition. It reminds me a lot of the Pro 2, taking the best bits of that. We've got some Light Strike, we've got a really nice minimalist upper, and kind of combining them with other things that Adidas have learned in their running shoes to make this something that you can happily run in almost every day if you wanted to. And like I said at the top, I almost always see these on sale nowadays. And if you can get it for the sale price of less than 110 full retail, I jump on it. Honestly, I love this shoe and I really would consider just grabbing as many pairs of it as you can. Even if you're buying it for the full price of £110 here in the UK, if you need a long run or a tempo or a racing flat, this will probably still be at £110, the best value for your money that you can get. I would even consider racing some 10Ks in this shoe, which is a pretty incredible thing for a shoe that is under £100 when we've got some racing shoes that are £200, £250, £300 nowadays. That is probably the best value shoe on the market, kind of knocking off the Saucony Endorphin Speed, which was my previous best value shoe. And if you can get this one on deal, it's probably half the price of the Speed when you're paying full price for that. So that should tell you how incredible value this shoe is. I wouldn't hesitate recommending this running shoe to basically anyone who enjoys running. Every time I've laced this one up so far, I've smiled and I've loved running in it. And I think this is going to be one of my quickest shoes to 100 miles simply because I want to run in it almost every time I want to do something faster or something longer. So if you want to see the 100-mile review of this shoe, when I break down how it's changed over those 100 miles and my final thoughts, then hit that subscribe button to be notified when that video comes out. But that's it for this video. So like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know if you've tried the Adios 6 down in the comments below. Have you loved it as much as I have? Am I missing something? Did it not quite work for you? I'll be really interested to hear, because I love this shoe so much. So if you've had a bad experience, definitely let me know. And while you're waiting for the full review after 100 miles of this shoe, click that video on screen now to watch my Pro 2 first impressions. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.